Hi everyone, my name is Shazia Khan and the unit we'll be doing today is 3.30 Academic and Research Skills for Law. The learning outcome we'll be doing today is learning outcome 4, which is to be able to plan and draft a piece of research. Just a summary of the last learning outcome, which we did learning outcome 3, which is to be able to take effective notes from a variety of sources. We looked at the key points from a variety of sources using active listening skills and reading strategies. Also, we looked at paraphrasing and summarising the information, and we also looked at the OSCOLA referencing system. So we looked at the importance of listening skills and why it's important in daily communication. And it's one of the highest percentage of skills that is used, which is 45%. We also looked at the learning pyramid in regards to reading, lecturing, audiovisual demonstration with reference to examples. We looked at the issue around active listening skill and how to improve your listening skills, and we looked at taking notes, the importance of that. We also looked at paraphrasing and summarizing information and why it's so important. We went on to look at the OSCOLA system, and we looked at footnotes, referencing, a bibliography, the need for a reference list, and we also looked at the need for a bibliography and also gave some examples, and we looked at the OSCOLA system with reference to examples. Now we're going to look at learning outcome 4, which is to be able to plan and draft a piece of research. So we'll be covering today, we'll be able to plan and draft a piece of research, create a plan for research on a chosen topic in law, draft a piece of research work using appropriate reference techniques, be able to produce academic work to a professional standard using existing draft, be able to reflect on our own academic progress and reflect on our own academic progress, including development of academic skills and academic English language skills, and develop an action plan for further improvement. So learning outcome 4 is to be able to plan and draft a piece of research. So firstly, we need to identify what research is. Research means to carefully analyze the problems or to do the detailed study of a specific problems by making use of special scientific methods. Research can be done on any topic, for example, medicine, IT, or law. In order to research, first of all, we need to have a topic or the problem on which you do the research. The topic must have relevant questions to answer. For research, certain steps have to be followed. Firstly, to get the observation, then background research and preparing the information. Research is a process of systematic inquiry of data, collection of data, analysis, interpretation. To identify, firstly, create a plan for research on a chosen topic area. And firstly, we need to identify the topic area. So, there's to choose a topic area that you are interested in. Okay, you cannot just choose a topic area that you don't have an interest in, because then you will fail to put all your passion in and do the work around it. The research process is more relevant if you care about your project, such as areas such as law. It might be things like the impact of legislation. Some areas just there on businesses, this use of force majeure in an economic downturn, the majority right of minority shareholders and takeovers, things like domestic violence, the law relating to the domestic violence bill, the issue of forced marriages. So these are some areas in law that may have an interest in you. You need to narrow your topic down to something manageable. If your topic is too broad, you will need to find much information and not be able to focus on it. So you need to narrow it down to what you want to look at. A good research topic should be specific enough for you to allow for focused research and analysis. For example, if you are interested in studying the effects of crime and the changes in the UK justice system, your research topic should focus on the reference to the criminal justice system in the UK. So to create a plan for research on a chosen topic area. Firstly, a research plan is a framework that shows you intend to approach your topic. The plan can take many forms. a written outline, a narrative, a visual concept, map, or a timeline. It's a document that will change and develop as you conduct your research. So a research plan is pivotal to your research project because it identifies and helps you define your focus, methods, and goals while also outlining the research project from start to finish. This type of plan is necessary. So firstly, you need to identify your aims and objectives of the research. You need to look at identifying the sampling techniques and size of the research. So where will you collect data from? Why is it so important? Where will you collect the types of data for? Who will you be the research participant, and how many participants you will have? Because you need to make sure that you are not asking too many people, because then it could the research topic could either become too much, or either you will go over your word count and not be able to identify elements of it. So you need to also identify the method for data collection. Essentially, aims provide the overall direction to the research, while objectives provide specific targets and must be achieved to accomplish aims. Aims provide a broad context for the research, while the objectives provide smaller steps that a researcher must take to accomplish the overall research goals. So you need to identify the method for data collection, such as if you're going to be doing surveys, or if you're going to be doing interviews. They're really important to identify what you want to do in regards to trying to test your hypothesis or your statement, and try to find out that you can get information on the area you want to do. So create a plan for research on a chosen topic area in law. Ideas, as we mentioned earlier, maybe things like forced marriage, restorative justice, the criminal system in the UK needs to be changed. Sentencing could be another one. Prepare a questionnaire for the identified method, and this section should be at least 400 to 500 words. So it could be anything in regards to whether the UK's how the UK passes law, is it a good system or not, whether we need more separation of powers in the UK. Whatever area, you must have an interest in that area, because you have that passion to find out more resources, and make sure your resources that you use are credible and authentic as well. So draft a piece of work using appropriate reference techniques. Your research work should be divided into the following sections. And firstly, before I go into the sections, I want to watch a video on research projects. So this video is a brief video on how to write a successful research proposal.
Most research projects start with a proposal. You'll probably have to write one before you start your thesis or dissertation. A research proposal is designed to persuade someone that your project is worthwhile. For example, your supervisor or funding body. If you want to know how to write a proper research proposal, then stay tuned. Hi, I'm Jessica from Scribber, here to help you achieve your academic goals. A research proposal aims to reflect the relevance, context, approach, and feasibility of your project. Big words, but what do they mean? Let's find out with some concrete examples. The format of a research proposal varies between fields, but most proposals should contain at least these elements: title page, introduction, literature review, research design, reference list. Now let's go through what you should include in each element. The title page of your proposal should include the proposed title of your project, your name, your supervisor's name, the institution and department. You should also check with your department to see if there are specific requirements. The introduction is where you hook the readers and demonstrate relevance. Here you should introduce the context of your research problem and show that your research is interesting, original, and important. Here are some questions to guide your introduction. How much is already known about the problem? For whom is this interesting? For example, policymakers or scientists. What are the key research questions that you aim to answer? A strong literature review convinces the reader that your project has a solid foundation in existing knowledge or theory. It also shows that you're familiar with the field. In this section, you're explaining how your project will contribute conversations on your topic. If you're not sure where to begin, we have a playlist on how to write a literature review, where you learn about searching for relevant literature, outlining the structure, and more. The research design or methodology should describe the overall approach and practical steps you will take to answer your research questions. Here are things you should describe in the research design section. Research type. So is it qualitative or quantitative? Primary or secondary? Sources. Who or what will you actually study? Research methods. What tools and procedures will you use? Practicalities. Any foreseeable obstacles in terms of timescale or resources required? Click here to dive deeper into this section. To finish the proposal on a strong note, you can explore potential implications of the research for theory or practice, and emphasize again what you aim to contribute to existing knowledge on the topic. For example, your results might have implications for confirming or developing a theory, challenging current assumptions, creating a basis for further research. Of course, your research proposal must include proper citations and a reference list for every source you've used. It's important to keep track of your sources right from the beginning. You can create and manage your sources easily with Scribber's free citation generator. Depending on the requirements of your program, you might have to include a detailed timeline and budget of your project. This aims to show that your research is feasible. Within the timeline, you explain what you will do at each stage, how long it will take, and how much it will cost. We have an example research schedule in our article. You can take a look here. As in any other piece of academic writing, it's essential to edit and proofread your research proposal before you submit it. For the best chance of approval, you might want to consider using a professional proofreading service to get rid of language errors, check your proposal structure, and improve your academic style. As for how long the research proposal should be, it really depends. A bachelor's or master's thesis proposal can be just a few pages, while a proposal for PhD dissertation or research funding are often very long and detailed, so better check with your supervisor. Before you go and start writing, make sure to drop a like and
So as we could see, the video that we just put on was in regards to how you would conduct a research project, and it identified some key elements. But what we're going to do is we're going to go through how to draft a piece of a research project with appropriate reference techniques. So your research should be divided into the following sections. So you should have the introduction, which is a brief outline of the study, aims and objectives, and research significance and rationale. The introduction is your opportunity to show your readers and reviewers why your research topic is worth reading about and why your paper warrants their attention. The introduction serves multiple purposes, and it presents the background to your study, introduces your topic and aims, and gives an overview of the paper. So it's really, really important in your introduction that it's clear what you intend to do. Then you've got number 2, which is literature review. So critically review of academic literature and preparing a conceptual framework. A literature review is a piece of academic writing demonstrating knowledge and understanding of the academic literature on a specific topic placed in content such as law. A literature review also includes a critical evaluation of the material. This is why it is called a literature review rather than a literature report. So a sample conceptual framework. So the depression dependent variable, you've got stress independent variable, sleep disorder independent variable, troubled as adolescent independent variables. So see, these are some of the things that come up when completing your research project. Number 3, choice of research methodology. So whether you're going to use qualitative or quantitative data, case study or survey, data collection, what you're going to use primary or secondary resources, sampling and sample size. The methodology section of your paper describes how your research was conducted. This information allows the reader to check whether your approach is accurate and dependable. A good methodology can help increase the reader's trust in your findings. And when you conduct research about a group of people, it's rarely possible to collect data from every person in that group. Instead, you select a sample and the sample of individuals who will actually participate in that research. The next one is data collection and analysis. So presentation of data, analysis of data, interpretation of findings, comparison with academic literature. So data collection, as we mentioned, is the process of collecting and analyzing information on relevant variables in a predetermined methodological way so that one can respond to specific research questions, test your hypothesis and assess result. Data collection can be either, as we mentioned, qualitative or quantitative. Summary and conclusion. Summary of findings, recommendations based on your findings, limitations in current research and scope of future work. Summary refers to the concise statement or account of key points of a text, research or essay, and the conclusion is the section of that text, essay or book which serves as the final answer to the research question. So if you decide to, talk about any sort of recommendations that are offered, you need to be putting that in your summary and conclusion, and then you need to look at getting all your chapters together and then have a summary of your findings. Number 6 is references and appendices, and this is really important in regards to your references that you use. Make sure that you use the right system. For UK Varsity, it's the Harvard system of referencing, and make sure you use footnotes where appropriate, and if any references are needed in regards to, make sure they're authentic, make sure you are using resources that are credible, and make sure you are using them when you are referencing things in chronological order, and make sure you reference quotes and paraphrase and quotes, as we mentioned in the earlier learning outcomes. Also, questionnaire as an appendix. This section should be about 400 to 500 words. Okay, so now we've finished learning outcome 4, and the next session will be learning outcome 5, which will be looking at being able to produce academic work. Thank you for your patience, and thank you for attending this session.